Future. All right. Hello, everyone. We are going to get started. We are going to have a couple of reminders. Then we're going to talk a little bit about our scouting teams and then a couple of areas that we are going to be looking for some help with. Um, so first, some reminders. Jersey Mike's is next a week from Wednesday. So if anybody is available to help out at any of the stores, 12 to 5, anytime between 12 and 5, let me know. I'll be putting the signups in the volunteer email again tomorrow. Um, we also have the 100% of sales on that day. So if you can't help, make sure you are directing as many people as you can who live in the area of any of those stores to come purchase something or do a catering order or something. It would be awesome because it's really, I asked George, our guy in development here, for anybody who doesn't know him, how if we have heard how they're doing. And they said in the first 2 days that they had raised close to 10,000. So that was just 2 days, and that was just straight donations. So if we have people going in and purchasing, and we're going to get 100% of sales, that's going to be pretty amazing. So please, if you can, just post it out on your social media or put up a poster somewhere. That would be awesome. If you know any companies in the areas of any of the stores, just reach out to them. If it works, great. We have a lot of people that can reach a lot of people for us. So we really appreciate the help for anybody that can do that because it's seeming to be working. They had a great kickoff weekend, and they're really excited. They really want to do well for us. So that's really great. Next, the walk and roll for wishes. We have, I think everybody has probably seen my post for the walk team. We have we have 8 people so far signed up, and we've already raised $2,757, which is amazing. I really think that this is something that volunteers could get behind and not have to put too much effort. I know everybody is raising funds for all kinds of different organizations and worthy organizations, but we have 600 volunteers. So if every volunteer just, raised $25, we would raise our the amount that we are going for our goal. So just think about it. If it's something you'd like to do, we'd love to have you. As I have shared, we are going to have a walk here in Boston after a volunteer gathering we are planning that you'll be hearing about probably within the next week. You'll receive an invitation to it, a volunteer appreciation ceremony. If anybody can make it into Boston, you are also welcome to walk wherever you are. You can walk in your backyard, in your neighborhood, have people, friends get together. There's also going to be a group walking in. Yes, I do have a digital picture of the Jersey Mikes. I'll send that to you guys. We have a group that's going to be walking, I believe, at Roundhead Brewery in Dorchester, no, Hyde Park, the day of our gathering as well. So if that's more convenient or more appealing to you, they will be doing that there as well. So there's going to be lots of activity coming up about the walk because this is something that people don't have to put a lot of effort in. We have some volunteers that are killing it. And I want to thank the volunteers who are on this committee that have already joined. I really, really appreciate it. So if you want to, please join. We'd love to have you. National Volunteer Week, as I mentioned, is April 20th to 26th. We are going to be having an appreciation ceremony here in the Boston office, probably from about 10 to 1, I would say, is probably going to be the timing, maybe 10 to 12:30 or something like that. And then we'll do our walk afterwards. Award ceremony, star raising, just a nice gathering of volunteers. So hold the date if you can. We would love to have you.
What day is that, Krista? I'm sorry.
Saturday, the 26th of April.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's see. I'm going to put out, as I do after some of these meetings, I do a little sign up things for areas that we need extra help. This is something I'm going to ask for 1 or 2 people to help me maybe set up that morning. So if you are planning to come and you can help me, that would be great. The other thing I want to get off the ground, and I had mentioned earlier in our meetings, was um, volunteer gatherings in general. And one of the thoughts we had when we discussed it was to have little crafting sessions where we would get together and do little crafts for wish kids, like we could something to put into a little goodie bag or a boost gift or something like that. Have just little items that are handmade by volunteers. We sometimes have donors come in that do these sort of things. They do um, uh, frames or backpacks and things like that. So we're trying to be a little more creative with the stuff that we're doing. So I want to put together a little committee to not only come up with some ideas of items. I have a couple of items that I'm thinking that we can do, but also to get some dates on the calendar because I think it's something volunteers might really enjoy doing. I've heard from some people that they'd like to do that. It's a nice way for volunteers to, in a social way, be getting together, have something to be able to talk to each other, get to know each other, maybe sign up for things together. So no dates have been set for that yet, but I'm going to put out this little ask to this committee. Anybody that wants to help me put that together, that will be one of the signups that I'm going to be taking. Any questions about anything so far that I've mentioned? So let us move to our fundraising scouting. And I just was curious if anybody, I do want to say we have one team, which is the open air fundraiser team, who actually are lucking out because we have an interested group that has come to us from the Rentham outlets. We don't know exactly what they're wanting to do. I think it's something like a cornhole tournament or something like that. So, but maybe we can develop it into more. Mariam in our office has the information about it, and she wants to talk to the team that is working on that in that area to have somebody reach out and to find out a little bit more and to see what their needs are and how we can help them develop it into something really great. So that's a win for us is when somebody came forward and we can just support them into doing the fundraiser instead of having to come up from something from scratch. So does anybody have any updates that they would like to share or questions or anything like that on their group that they are working with? Don't all speak at once.
How far do you want us to take it on our own, Krista? I missed the last meeting, so I apologize. I'm pursuing something with Apex Entertainment in Marlboro.
Mm-hmm.
They have a program called Apex Cares.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay, you're nodding. Do you know them? Have you been there?
You're
Oh,
mute.
you're on mute.
I've been there a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So I was originally thinking of it for just a fundraiser because I went there for a fundraiser for my son's basketball team.
Mhm.
But then in researching, they partner with organizations under the guise of Apex Cares in a more robust way. So I'm positioning myself as a member of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but like, how far do you want me to take that on my own before I hand it off to someone in that gets paid to do this? Like,
So
I don't want to falsely advertise. Like,
no, and you're not at all. I
okay.
want, get as much information as you can.
Okay.
See what the trade-off is. Like, what do they
Yeah.
need from us? What do we need to
Right.
put into it versus what do they do? How have they been successful in the past? Because if they have a program,
Right.
obviously they've done it before. So this is great. And that was
I
actually
haven't gotten far, but I just wanted,
okay.
before I got too far over my skis, I just wanted to see
Yeah.
if you guys were comfortable. I mean, I'm in sales, you know
Mhm.
that. So like, I'm comfortable having these conversations, but I'm going to reach a point where I won't have all the answers.
Right.
So is that when I would include
Yeah,
you
and you can
would?
you can just
Okay.
say that you're a you feel free to speak. You can totally speak. Just say you're a volunteer and you're on this committee that's researching like different places that we can do some fundraising and get the word
Yeah.
out about Make-A-Wish and everything, and just gather what they need from us
Okay.
and get a gist of what it is and how it's going to raise the funds, and that's great. And then you
Will
can
do.
come back. Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
And that was one of the places I had in the back of my mind because I've seen their
Oh, really?
advertised, but I had no idea that they had a program. So that's wonderful.
They do. Our little committee is trying to where like the axe throwing, like it's
Mhm.
paint, it's kind of like an all inclusive, but one of my partners, I can't remember who, already has a very long list going. So Nothing robust to report yet. Just know
Okay.
that activity is happening.
It's great that you're having the conversations, and this is great because even if other people haven't gotten started yet, hearing this conversation, you're hearing what we're looking for. You know, we don't want to go crazy. We don't want to fill up our docket with a bajillion things that aren't going to do well. But if there's something really promising out there, and it's something fun that people would want to do, and what we want to remember is we want this to be more than we want volunteers to go to it, of course, and to support it, and the Make-A-Wish family and all that to be supportive of it. But we also want the public to be able to contribute too. So, I mean, a place like that seems great. Thank you.
Have we ever approached a brewery to have them? Because I know we do a lot of partnerships with breweries. It seems to like breweries and puppies. I don't know. It seems to like all kind of go together. But has anyone ever approached them to brew a beer on behalf of the Make-A-Wish Foundation and then they get like a signature cup? I'm sure you've thought of that, like the
So
glass.
we had the closest thing that I can think of off the top of my head was at Raffles. It's a hotel bar
Oh
down.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
upscale, and they
yeah.
do that every year around Christmas time for us.
Okay,
Where they have a signature drink, and you get a gift glass with it that has the
I
Make-A-Wish
love it.
logo on it, and it's
Okay,
beautiful. It's a little pricey, and that's why it's not a huge money maker, but it's a
okay.
great that's a great clientele for us to be out in front of. So it's really
Yes,
nice that they come back year after year. This Roundhead Brewery that I mentioned that we're going to be doing a small walk on their property is we that had started as an idea of them doing exactly what you described, having a Make-A-Wish brew. Um,
yes,
and for some reason, the brew part didn't come through, but they are still doing a Make-A-Wish night. Their place of business, they don't take tips. So what they're going to do instead is they're going to encourage people. They're having a Make-A-Wish. I think it's all month, I believe, and on they're going to, instead of taking tips, they are going to encourage people to make a donation of $1, $3, or $5, and they're going to give us a table for their kickoff of it and everything. It's really sweet, and it's a nice in with them. So we're hoping to build that relationship, and maybe after they work with us, maybe they would then take the next step, because I mean, I can understand that that's probably a bigger ask, is to have a brew.
yeah.
We do currently have a coffee house called,
Like, how do we know if anyone from Make-A-Wish has already approached an organization? Like, you
it's
guys have people that are paid to do this. So,
it's
like, I want
gonna
to approach Treehouse. They live in my town, but
you
they're
can
kind of
ask
big too. Maybe
you,
somebody already went to them.
you can ask me and I will ask. It's not as easy as just putting out a list, because we have Wine and Wishes. So
Yeah.
Wine and Wishes outreach that we do, it is exhaustive. And
Okay.
so we
Okay.
do, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. And if anybody says, oh, we're already supporting, it's not a big deal. Just say, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm exploring. And it's bound to happen.
Yep.
Uh, Especially with the wine and
Yeah.
beer people.
Beer. Okay.
We do
Thank
have
you.
a coffee house right now that is doing a Make-A-Wish flavor, and I think $1 of every coffee that's coming to us. So you'll see that in tomorrow's volunteer email. It's good. I tried it. It's good coffee. Um, Anybody else?
Um, so my one of my co-volunteers and I, we met for game night,
Mhm,
and we came to the conclusion that just the two of us could not determine what avenue game night should take,
mhm,
because we started brainstorming and we came up with so many different like paths to game night. You could take a sports path, you could take bingo trivia, you could do like a mystery kind of like solve, like one of those like solve a mystery kind of night thing. You could do like some sort of Family Feud Jeopardy thing. We hadn't started looking at venues because again, depending on which way you take game night will change what type of venue you look for.
mhm,
We determined like if like for bingo or trivia, like that would be a price of admission sort of thing. And then
mhm,
if you did bingo, for example, if you wanted additional bingo cards, then that would be even more. Like you'd have to pay more money for that. So we started like brainstorming that sort of stuff and like incorporating what prizes would be needed because with the game, people are competitive and people want to win a prize. So you would need to then come up with that and like doing raffles and that sort of thing. Um, but we decided that we would kind of bring it to a collective committee vote on like what avenue game night should take. I do know that there's like that axe throwing group that had like bowling as an option. That's something that we had considered because again, it's kind of like a game. Um, and I don't know if it's something where the group, depending on what that group chooses, it's we combine the two groups and do something together or what. But we kind of came to the decision that it shouldn't be up to the two of us and that it should be a collective, everyone likes this better. Like we like creating a volunteer sports team and a Make-A-Wish staff sports team and like other people can create a sports team for like a game like basketball or something and then we could have like a tournament like or whatever. We decided that that's something we should all collectively vote on and choose which one we like the best.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we got to after our brief meeting.
Do you want to put some thoughts down of like the different types that you thought of, the couple that you just mentioned? And then I can put that into our little questionnaire afterwards and see if we can get a feel of what people think might be successful, like what kind of a game night. And we can talk to the other group as well, the axe throwing group, and see if where they are too, and if it's something that they want to add their ideas to. And but that would probably be the best start, it sounds like. But you're off to a good start and you're thinking the way you should. Like, how can we make this into something? What is the structure of it? Maybe that's the best place to start. And then, you also have to think when you put together something like a basketball team or something might be a little more complex than a bowling team, because bowling team you can show up the day of and you're assigned to a team if you don't already come with your own team. A basketball team, people want people with certain skills or people that can play certain areas or whatever. I know nothing about basketball. So that might be a little more complex, you know what I'm saying? So that's things that we should be considering at this point before we get too far off the ground.
Yeah, we it was kind of just the two of us and I felt really bad because my co-volunteer was like suggesting bowling and I was like, oh, well, the other group had bowling in their title, so I don't think we could do that. And then suggested like a casino night. And I was like, well, there's the poker run and the scavenger hunt, which kind of like, so it's like, since all three groups have like a similar theme on like, it's sort of gamey or that's a horrible term, but we were trying to think of something that like those groups didn't think of that other people would like, other people might find interesting. We definitely decided as like a bingo or a trivia night at like a bar as to be our top choice.
And
I know
probably
that,
the easiest to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know
why
that my
don't you
parents,
take that? You can have
Yeah.
that, and then I'll bring it back to my group to focus more on like because Apex has like bowling and all
Yeah.
this stuff, but like if you want to own trivia, you got it.
I think trivia
That's a
would be
winner.
I mean, everybody likes doing trivia.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, it's a nice social thing that somebody can be part of a team and not feel left out if they don't know.
And you can just glom onto one that already exists.
Yes.
And just take a piece of the pie. You don't have to create it from scratch.
Yeah.
Well, my parents just stumbled upon a music trivia the other day. It's not at all what they thought. They they played a song. Or no, it was music bingo. They thought it was trivia. It was bingo. They played a song and you had to guess the song and like see if you had it on your bingo card. And so like
fun.
there's even with like a bingo or your trivia, there's so many different like ways you could take it to make it unique or fun. Like you could even throw in some like Make-A-Wish trivia in there. Like I know at that volunteer summit we had like our Make-A-Wish Jeopardy game with some like trivia questions. So that was like while we had a lot of ideas, we definitely said that was like the men that we would mainly talk about, but that we thought everyone should have an opinion on that because again, there's so many different types of games.
I'm cool with it.
Does that sound good to you, Natalie?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you want to bring that back to, is it Lucy you were talking to, I assume, right?
Yeah, Lucy and I were talking. We had already established that like a bingo or a trivia or something in like a bar setting
Mhm.
where then like you could maybe do like depending on the bar, since it would be a bar and people would be drinking, that then seeing about a portion of those sales going to that like some sort of percent. Like we were trying to brainstorm like different ideas within it to see. And then also it's something that like we could advertise as a Make-A-Wish community, but like regular patrons
That's
to the
right.
bar would like, or people just like would end up at it. Like,
Mhm.
you know, some people who just love trivia or love bingo would be like, oh, like, no offense, but I don't care about the Make-A-Wish. I care about the bingo and the trivia aspect. But
Mhm.
then we'd still be making money off of that.
Yeah.
Like, so that was kind of like our thought process to it.
Yeah, so I think you have your direction, so I think that's great. Okay, awesome. Anybody else?
So I wanted to go based off what Natalie said, 'cause I think that's an amazing idea. I love the trivia. Ours was the scavenger hunt
Mhm.
and book a run. And I've been trying to get materials together based on cost. I feel like it's very difficult to try to get enough people to one location. We'd have to do like 4 different locations because we can't charge too much for this kind of a thing. But then I thought about a virtual bingo that I participated in for the Jimmy Fund. And it was hosted by Gronk. So, we don't have Gronk right now, but we can make it fun. So, I wanted to look deeper into a virtual bingo, if that's something we could do, and make it more Make-A-Wish based. So, like, have the bingo tiles be maybe wishes that we've granted in the past, because we've done a lot of wishes, right, since the start of Make-A-Wish Mass Rhode Island. So I feel like that would be something that links to our mission as well.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I think that's great. I've never heard of virtual bingo, so I'd be interested to hear how more about how that works. The scavenger hunt piece, another chapter has done one, and what they did was they did it in malls. So you know how there are things like Simon malls. So there may be malls that are owned by different management companies. So you could pick a mall in Rhode Island, in Eastern Mass, in Western Mass, and then have it all going on at the same time. And you could have a different scavenger hunt in each mall. And that way it would be open to different areas. That's how you can get, it is challenging because you pick a place and then it doesn't work for anybody. And then what, it doesn't go over well. Um,
Right.
but that's something like thinking in that way, that someplace that is managed, by management companies, but they have multiple locations. That might be a good place to start for that.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as the virtual bingo goes, I've been looking deeper into the Streaming for Wishes app that you use. So on Discord, you could probably live stream a bingo game that way. And then
That
as
sounds
far
really
as
fun, Lindsay. Like, I feel like you could reach a lot of people with that because they don't have to physically go anywhere. But if
right.
we can't get Gronk to host it, who are our friends of the chapter, Krista?
Well,
Like, do we have anyone famous that
I mean,
likes us?
it's always this is the challenge, because you would think, oh, we're Make-A-Wish, we have them falling out of our butts.
Right,
But
right.
here's the challenge: is anytime you bring in a celebrity, you have to get the national office's permission, and the national
Oh,
office always puts the wishes ahead. Obviously, they should put the
of
wishes
course.
ahead of
Mm,
the fundraising piece. So it's very
okay,
hard unless somebody has I know Gronk personally and can
right.
call him, then it's sometimes hard to get a yes, and it can be very frustrating for our fundraisers, because people say all the time, oh, just get so and so who lives in Boston to be connected to it. It's a
But
little
do we
tough.
reach out? I mean, how many volunteers we have? 500, like, or
Mhm.
whatever. Like, is everybody getting, I know you're looking to us as the captains to lead, but like there are so many other like points of connection that those 500 volunteers must have that we're not tapping into.
Yeah. So if
I don't
we
know.
put the ideas together, what we're trying to do is to hone in the ideas, what we're going to
Yep.
do. And then
Yep.
we can put our ask out to the volunteers of what we need. Okay.
Oh,
This is
okay.
what, I hope I was clear when I first
Love
said
it.
that, this is not your bag. You are not stuck with this, and the success is not up to you. We're going to pull together. We're going to support each other. And
Okay.
that's why I don't want anybody to feel the onus, and the pressure of owning something like this.
I
I
missed
agree
that
with you.
piece.
We have, a lot of volunteers, and I'm always bringing new volunteers on. And
Yeah.
sometimes the newer volunteers might be more excited to get started in something that's never been done before, so definitely, yes. So once we
Okay.
have our ideas, and we then we'll say, okay, this is what we need. We need a group that's going to be getting a sponsor. We need groups that are going to be getting people to come to it. We're going to need people to be putting together the materials for it, all that stuff. Then we will go out to the volunteers and gather those people.
And then
Or
are you looking for small little ones or big ones, like at the level of the gala?
I mean, of course, it would be awesome if we get there, but I don't think in our first year we're going to get there for that. I want us to be realistic. I don't want us to bite off more than we can chew. I want us to get our feet wet, and then next year, at the beginning of the year, we can decide, okay, are we ready to step it up and make it into something a little bigger, or is there something else that we want to try, or something? Yeah.
All right. Sorry,
for
Natalie.
the
Stepped
no,
on
you're
you
good.
there.
For the virtual bingo, so was your idea that like it would be live streamed, or was it like something that people wouldn't have to actually tune in for like a live stream? It would go over a certain period of time. Because I know that the NHL just did like a virtual bingo for the Four Nations face-off back in February, and it was like for the entire however many days that the Four Nations like lasted or whatever, people could like sign up to do a bingo card, and it would be like they wouldn't have to press like, oh yeah, I got this or whatever. It would automatically happen when something within the Four Nations, like this, I'm explaining this really badly. But like when something like that happened, I know that it would be like a lot of coding and tech sort of thing, but it was kind of like my friend was more excited about the virtual bingo than she was about the actual Four Nations result.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was like, it's not something that you actually have to like be on a Zoom for or like this sort of setting. It's something that's literally just on your phone. You could have it for like a week. You could do it around like the marathon or like something along those lines. I didn't, that's just something.
Okay.
I like that idea, but I also think it would be nice to bring in, like, what if we brought in Wish alumni to host the bingo game? Like kids
Mm-hmm.
who could just, all they have to do is read the card for the
Mm-hmm.
spot, and that way they could be more engaged in this
That's
and
cute.
share stories or something.
Okay. Anybody else on this topic or a new idea?
Brianna and I actually talked about Pints for Wishes.
Mhm.
So Annette, when you were mentioning kind of working with a brewery, that was one of the things we had discussed was Treehouse was like the Prue one. I don't know if that's the one you were referring to, but
Oh no, I live in the same town as the flagship in
oh, okay,
Charlton.
fantastic. Yeah, I was gonna say they
Yeah.
have so many locations and
Did you already approach them, Bill?
we didn't. Yeah, we
Oh,
were
okay.
kind of just thinking of the idea first, and then
Yeah.
once we had interest or whatever the next steps would be. We were thinking Treehouse or Trillium, or I mean, there's so many breweries around here, and I'm sure they'd all be willing to help. So,
Yep.
I think we can kind of talk about just what we're envisioning for a location and the event itself. But we were, when you were talking about brewing a beer for Make-A-Wish, I think that's a fantastic idea. Brianna and I had mentioned that, and kind of, that day having, it kind of depends how you'd want to, configure it, but you could do, drink tickets and say, and I think a lot of it too that we decide is really up to the brewery. It's
Right.
going to be what they're willing to do from a drink perspective, from a food perspective. So some of the ideas we had were like, all right, maybe we sell drink tickets, and then, that drink ticket can be handed to the bartender. And then, they collect those tickets, they're already prepaid. And then at the end, we pay maybe half, or maybe the
Yeah.
brewer's going to donate all that to us. That would be fantastic.
Or like a limited edition, like it's either Sam Adams or Harpoon that does a 26.2, a marathon brew,
Yep.
30 days
Oh,
before
yeah.
the marathon and 30 days after. And once it's gone, it's gone. Like that's special.
Because on the thought of that, sorry, go ahead, Lindsay.
It's good. I've had it.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
And you
your
look
idea,
forward to it. But
Yeah.
anyway, Yeah.
Yeah, your idea on that made me think like, that could even take the event further as like, so our event would be the kickoff of, like the Make-A-Wish
Yes.
draft and that it becomes available like all month, for example. So say we pick a month where it's like the first weekend or something. And then, that's kind of like the launch party, if you will. So I think that was a good idea, and that got me thinking about something like that to
I
keep
love
it
it.
going, even beyond that initial event.
Awesome.
I mean, from a food perspective, thinking like food truck, or if they have food on site, see if they
Totally.
donate it or what that looks like. We could always, Brianna and I were talking like we'd be happy to spend money out of pocket to try and like put some type of food together and bring that on site. We can kind of see what the brewery is open to. Having like a t-shirt component or Make-A-Wish swag, as an additional way to make money. Um, and then just different things like, making like a mocktail, for example, of like a blue non-alcoholic drink to match our theme for, if there's an opportunity, especially if it's an outdoor brewery and it's a nice day, like hopefully get like wish children and their families, or
Yeah.
those that have already had wishes granted and alumni, come to the event. So we think, there would definitely be a lot of different groups you could invite to it.
Mhm.
I love that.
Do like a
Or even
raffle or
an
something
NA
like that.
version of the beer,
Yeah, that's a good
because a
point.
lot of people are sober curious right now. So you could do
Yeah,
like two versions of it.
yeah,
The thing with
yeah.
non-alcoholic beer though, or any not like if it's labeled non-alcoholic, in the state of Massachusetts, you still need to be 21 to have that.
Is that right?
Just yeah.
think
My
for
sister tried to order something when
I
she
mean,
was
not that I'm
20 and they were like,
targeting
no,
kids, but
no,
even
yeah, no, I
adults
know what you mean. No,
would like a
I know what you mean, but
non-alcoholic version.
like I'm 20, for example. So it's like it's something that, like we do
Sorry,
have.
Natalie.
I can't have beer
Oh
anyways,
yeah.
don't worry about it. But yeah. And have we ever thought of like combining like some of these wishes? Like doing trivia at the Pint for wishes,
I mean,
like
that's a
kickoff
great
event,
idea. That's a
like
great
that sort of
idea.
thing?
Yeah. If we can find a place that would do it. Yeah. Brianna, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think me and Bill were thinking like if obviously we want to be family friendly, so for the mocktail doing like a blue juice kind of drink. So it's like we don't have to do the non-alcoholic part, but it's like a non-alcoholic juice kind of rather
Mhm.
so we don't run into that issue of like it having to be like Natalie mentioned, you getting it at 21. So we could
Yep.
do like a special beer for people who are of drinking age, but then also the people who are sober curious, or the
Yep.
kids who are coming to the event, or like if you're pregnant or something, like all the options play in. So I think me and Bill were kind of thinking more of the lines of like a, I don't know, like they give like alcoholic, but blue Hawaiian, but like blue fruit juice, and then
Yep.
like a pineapple juice. So we don't have to do, oh yeah, it's non-alcoholic, yeah, technically, but you have to be 21 or older to get it still,
Mhm.
if that
Clever.
makes sense.
Great. These are great thoughts.
I
Anyone
definitely
else?
feel like we can get one of these guys, like Trillium,
Mm.
Treehouse, one of them that is going to draw a crowd just from their name alone.
Mhm.
And if we
I have
do
a
it right, this could be, like you said, Bill, beyond a singular event that it could live on with the signature glass,
Mhm.
with the, living on. So, and just great marketing for
Mhm.
our chapter.
Yeah.
I have a question. For all of these, like, I don't know how many groups there were. There was like at least 8. Like, was the idea to see about like getting rid of like the weaker ones and like keeping the stronger ones, or like trying to combine them, or like was there a certain number of how many out of all of these that you were like looking at? Because then it might make more sense to try and combine some groups or something like that.
No. I don't want us to focus on having to get one in every category or anything like that. That's why we're doing the scouting stage, because we're going to see ones that are just, no matter how hard we try, it's not going to work. It's going to be too many logistics for the amount of money that it's going to bring in. I mean, realistically, we're going to identify those sort of things. So I think and plus there might be ones that we're not thinking. We think it sounds like the easiest thing in the world, and then we contact a brewery and they're like, no, we can't do that. It's bound to happen. So I want us to be open, and just not to, every time we come up with something, then get knocked back down to square one. So if we have some ideas brewing, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
um it we if and not everything has to be a huge moneymaker. If something is just a great awareness campaign and it doesn't really cost us a lot of legwork or money or anything like that, then I mean that's worth doing as well. So it doesn't even have to be a huge financial success. You know, something might be building a relationship this first step, and then next year we go back and then they build upon it.
I have a quick question, Krista.
Sure.
Is there like a location? I'm also in this like brewing group. Is there like a location that you're aiming for them for this to be at? Like, is Rhode Island a better option? Is Boston a better option, or it doesn't quite
I'm
matter?
open to anything, you know, just to remember where we have the most volunteers and stuff in Massachusetts. However, we don't want to leave out Western Mass. We don't want to leave out Rhode Island. So if we can, and that's why I want to do more than one, because maybe if we do one big one that's in Boston, just because there's more opportunity in Boston, then maybe there's something that, you know, a little smaller that might be more appropriate for the Western and Central Mass area or something. So we should be keeping our eyes open for all of those opportunities. And Rhode Island, you know, I think we don't do enough in Rhode Island as far as getting out there. So, I mean, we'd love to be able to do something in the Rhode Island area as well. And Rhode Island has a great restaurant and social life up there and in Providence. So, I mean, with some attention, I'm sure we could come up with something up there as well.
Krista, I think for Rhode Island, Fiddlehead, I don't know how she's involved, but I'm thinking Wine and Wishes from last year. The mom is a wish mom. So she spoke last year at the
Yeah,
event.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I'm trying
yes.
to think if like, because that's one thing me and Bill did talk about, like different locations, and maybe they would be, if we did two, like one in Boston and then one in Rhode Island, like maybe approaching them because they already have that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
But I know me and Bill kind of talked about that aspect of like location wise and figuring out like Boston probably would be easiest for Massachusetts just because it's a central location, but then also trying to include Rhode Island somehow. So I mean, we can figure it out between all of us, but I know that there's that connection because she spoke last year. So
Great point. Great point. And I think once we open it up to volunteers and say, hey, this is what we're thinking, who's got connections to what, you know, that other things will come forward as well. And
So do you not want us to reach out, Krista? We're still brainstorming. Or should we have some conversations just to see what's possible and what's a dead end?
as far as what?
Like, should I go to Treehouse? Because I know the people there and just
if you know
float
them, then just, you know, float it with them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. There's no harm in that.
Sorry, Anne, your hand was raised. Talking too much.
Sorry.
I love this stuff.
Couple things. One was it may start to become clear as the ideas start gelling that there are different audiences for different things, and that you want to cover all the age groups and audiences too. So that might naturally pan out. And the whole brewery discussion has made me thinking, for some of us old timers, you might remember these, Krista's, when Harpoon used to have the Harpoon Fest at the brewery. I don't know if they still do those, but those were packed and raging at the time, you know, and it was just a fun thing for the younger group, you know, I don't know, the 20s, 30s, I guess I would say, in Boston, because they'd have bands. I mean, that was a big thing. But it was seemed like such a simple thing, and then you show up, so it very festive. But then also makes me think too of like the Scooper Bowl that the Jimmy Fund used to do. You know, I don't know if they still do it, but that was like a signature event for decades. You know, and people looked forward to it. And it was in Boston, and it just had a lot of recognition, and it was just, so it is something that could evolve into a signature event like that if you're thoughtful about it at the beginning.
And I love your point about the different age groups. That's absolutely correct. Like, and that's, you know, something I didn't mention, and that's totally true. I mean, we don't want everything to, you know, some people don't go out to drink, you know, so we don't want to make everything, you know, a drinking fest, you know. I mean, some people might want something more fun, like a physical sort of apex, or the game night or something like that, something scavenger hunt, that sort of thing. So I think that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else? Any other groups or any other suggestions?
I'll go.
Great.
Yeah, I can.
Ours is Dancing with the Stars. Am I breaking up? No?
What's that?
Am I breaking up?
You were a little at first, but now you're okay.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so I have Peyton and Chantal on my group. They could not attend tonight, but we worked together to do the Dancing with the Stars. We have talked to the owner of Havana, this place where everybody's dancing bachata and salsa. He said he can give us the entire space for any Sunday from 5 to 7, and he will give us security and DJ. And then all we have to do is sell the tickets on Eventbrite and then give the security a list of who paid for the tickets. So the venue is good. And then we have 6 professional dancers who committed to this. We are trying to finalize what Sunday works for everybody, which might be a challenge, but we're looking at June, July, August. So we'll find one Sunday that works for everyone. And then the next step would be to find the date and then to find the kids that we partner up with these professional dancers. I have no idea how to go about that, but maybe if you have some.
So how are you envisioning, like, how much prep time would they need? Is it something that, I don't know anything
Right.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, all of these professional dancers, they know how to teach at different levels. And so if we're matching them, let's say this month, they'll have realistically 3 months to come up with a 1 minute or 45-second choreography. And it will be up to them, up to the dance instructor and the kid, how often they meet and where. Luckily, all of these dance instructors are company owners, so they have their own studios. The space is not an issue, but how often, I think it will depend on the kid. However, I really trust this group that they will, even if somebody is not very good at dancing, they'll do something impressive and they'll do something cute. And so I think that if a kid or a parent asks, what's the commitment? It kind of depends what their background is. Do they have any dance background at all? I think the short answer is, yeah. And then we were thinking about, how at the gala, like you have like, a story on screen and then you have like a little show, like it kind of goes on like that. So we were thinking about videoing the practices as well. So like having on the screen, like, hi, I'm Elena, I'm 7, I like, ice skating and now I want to learn how to dance. And then you have one of my professional dancers, Luis, goes, I've been dancing for 15 years and I'm going to dance with Elena. And then we show some videos from their practice, just a little like a teaser. And then they come on stage and then do the whole thing in front of everyone. So that's what we have so far. We're thinking about some 50-50 raffles. We really need somebody strong in marketing to send out these, invitations. Because even though these dancers are, very known in our community, they could invite their own students. I really want that place to be packed. So
how many people does it hold? Do you have any idea about that?
400.
400 people. And
that's the fire limit.
Yeah. And is it in Brighton? Did you say it was in Brighton?
No, it's called Havana Club. I don't know if it's Bachata Club, but if you Google Havana Bachata, then it's going to come up. It's on Mass Ave in Harvard Square.
Harvard Square. Okay.
And no. I think it's in Central Square. Well, it's on Green Street. I'm sorry, I'm bad with regions in Cambridge. And it's a huge space. They have great security. They have some chairs on the side. They have nice lighting. They have a bright stage. They have a big like TV where you can, show things. I mean, I think the setup is really ideal for this sort of thing. Parking. Yeah, there's actually garage right next to it. So the biggest challenge right now for us is, how do we market this so that more people come?
I mean,
if I were to invite people, they need to know what's in it for them.
I mean, we have
Because
a marketing team. We could, utilize social media. We could, have our volunteers get the word out. There's stuff we can do. We've been doing a little bit with influencers. So if people connect us with influencers, we'll get them on board and things like that. But I think the biggest challenge is going to be the commitment of the kids. I think that's going to be the piece. So just figuring out, because if we do wish kids, we have to take into consideration their treatment schedules and things like that. If we open it up to former wish kids and stuff, we may have a little more luck. We might have kids who, maybe dancers already and maybe interested. So I think that's the piece that we'll have to think through a little bit. Like, what is the sweet spot there that's going to satisfy to make it the special thing that we want it to be, and the vision to fulfill the vision that you have for it. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's great, and I would love. So what I'd like to do is talk to our event people and also Monica from our Wish community and get her feeling on the commitment of the kids, because she is very, very connected. I don't know if you know her. She's very, very connected to our Wish families, past and present.
Yeah,
but great. That's a lot.
Awesome.
I mean, it's a great thought. If it pans out, gosh, that would be amazing. Yeah.
I'm excited as well.
And a lot of fun.
Everyone was very excited to be part of it. I didn't even have to do my whole 10 bullet points spiel. They were like, I'm in it. Yes. So
that's great.
Of course, because Make-A-Wish everybody knows, and so they felt like they want to be part of it.
We just looked at Natalie. Of course it was you, Havana Club, 288 Green Street.
Yes, 288 Green Street.
All right, great. All right, so I'll be in touch with you, so we can get in touch with the people in the office that I think need to be pulled in to have that discussion about it, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? I think this is a great start, everyone. Keep it up. Our next meeting is going to be the April 14th, which will be right before Volunteer Appreciation Week. I will get something out in the next day or two with signups for the couple of things that I'm looking for some help with. If you have questions, if you have, oh, great. Colleen, you want to give a update? Can you chat, or did you want to write that?
Yeah, I can. Sorry.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
I lost my screen. Okay, okay, got it. Yeah, just really quick. I connected with the local Boston moth leaders who are so sweet, and they love the idea, but they have to pass it on to corporate now.
Sure.
So I sent a follow-up email to one of my Boston contacts, just seeing where corporate was at. And this could be a this year thing, or maybe we have to shelve it and start again next year. But as you were saying, I loved what you're saying about how something can start small and grow. We got this moth partnership. They have just tons of these events nationwide, and we could become a yearly event for them across the country, become a big money thing if we did a test in Boston. So
as I told you, I had never heard of it, and so I looked it up on YouTube, and I watched a couple of them, and it's pretty cool. And
yeah,
I have mentioned it to a couple of people in the office, and everybody that was familiar with it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, that would be awesome." Yeah. It's really got a following, apparently, that I knew nothing about.
Can you share a little bit, Colleen, what it is? I don't know what moth is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moth, I think they play them on NPR and other channels too. So it's the live event. Every month has a different theme or topic. Actually did one. So my theme was baggage, and I had to write a piece around baggage. Everyone does. They'll pick 5 or 6 people who you put your name in the hat at the beginning. They'll draw names, and you'll go up there and you have 5 minutes to give a story. And they're just really, I don't know, they're really special, really unique, and you just learn about people's lives, their hardships, their stories. And I think storytelling is a cool way to, I don't know, create emotion around Make-A-Wish too. I think you could get some good donations from people just really feeling the mood and feeling touched during it. So yeah, I highly recommend if you haven't to look up some of the moth videos. They're really neat.
But you're not allowed to, like, you're not allowed to have notes or anything. You have to get up in there and you have to speak from your heart and tell your story. So you mentioned you have to qualify for it first. So you have to put a story together. Is that what it is?
At the event, you can drop a statement. And they don't pick everyone, so it's just random. But my thought was with Make-A-Wish, they picked like the theme of the month was around like something with wishes. Have someone like a former Wish kid just automatically go up and do their story and then back to the general crowd of they can go. But we'll see. I'll keep everyone updated. I'm waiting on corporate.
Thank you. I mean, it's such a great idea. Thank you for suggesting it. Yeah.
It would be cool for that too, Colleen, in terms of like getting different areas of Make-A-Wish. So getting maybe like someone is waiting for their wish, someone who's had a wish granted, maybe a volunteer, someone at Make-A-Wish corporate. That way you're also like not only, advocating for Make-A-Wish as a whole, but also like planting seeds for people who might want to become a volunteer or, obviously donate and get involved, but just kind of learn about how it's impacted not only those who have had granted wishes, but also those of us who support the mission too.
That's a great idea. Thank you. I just made note of that.
I love it.
You mentioned,
guys. Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned how, Colleen, the name of like what you did was like around baggage. Like, what if like the event was advertised of like being like wishes, like wish upon a star, make a wish, like around that, like
we'll pick something with like a wish,
and then you could like like you could do like, and you could make it so like with an Instagram post, people could be like, I wish for this or whatever, and like advertise 11/11 make wish, like that sort of stuff, like to like make it like all the advertising around it be about like people also telling you about wishes, not just like the actual event, people telling you about wishes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like the 11/11 tie-in.
All right, any last words? Okay, Mary Beth, I'm having issues with my internet connection, but I have been working on something possible for open air event that I was going to connect with you, and also if you need contact, rent them outlet. I live right down the street. Oh, awesome. So the group that I was in touch with about the rent them event, I will circle back to you. There, Miriam is just knee deep or neck deep, really, in Jersey Mike's right now. So I want to give her a little break until next Wednesday, and then we will get back on that. I know that they had mentioned wanting to do something in May. So it might be something that we could have a quick turnaround on, whatever it is that they were thinking. So I will get back to you on that after next Wednesday, just to give her a little breathing space. Anybody else before we sign off? Awesome. Okay, great meeting, everyone. I will.
You'll send that document out, Krista. I just want something I can post.
For the Jersey Mike's? Yeah.
Yeah. I looked back at your email. I could snip it, but it just doesn't look clean.
Yeah, we have one. We have one that we can send you. Yeah. Thank you.
And it has all the stores?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll be in touch in a day or two, okay? Good night.
Hi.
Hey.
So
hold one second.
Brianna?
I'm still don't talk. I'm still recording. I'm just trying to figure out how to cut that. Stop recording.